A generation ago, talking to someone else's children about sex was widely considered grounds for a thrashing. Touching them sexually was effectively a death penalty offense.
Like, this would have banged on Fox News. And now it's on Twitter. Who is this for, my man? Like, what's happening? All right, let's get to Tucker Carlson. Oh, God, this is going to be so good. Tucker Carlson went from being the most popular news broadcaster in the country and an incredibly important asset to the growing American fascist movement to literally broadcasting 10-minute videos on Twitter. Tucker Carlson officially went from the guy who was at the top of the leaderboard to someone who has less prominence than me, okay? Someone who's doing something that is even a lower budget production than your favorite Twitch streamer, Hassan Hasanabi Piker, okay?
Hey, it's Tucker Carlson. Let's say you wanted to control a country. How would you start? Well, you'd want to make sure you had the complete obedience of everybody inside your borders who was authorized to use deadly force. You would start with the military and then federal law enforcement, then move your way down ultimately to agencies like the IRS. Controlling the guns would be a top priority for you if you ever wanted to go dictatorial, if you wanted to be baby doc. But let's say you had deeper ambitions. Let's say you wanted the power not simply to control people's behavior, but to control how they think, not just their bodies, but their minds, as a god would. In that case, you need to take charge of the society's taboos. A taboo is something that by popular consensus is not allowed. A taboo may not be illegal, but it doesn't need to be. Over time, social prohibitions are more powerful and more enduring than laws.
I'm so glad Tucker Carlson is back to talk about riveting political commentary. What a wonderful utilization for the episode. Like, who is this for, my man? Like, what do you think? Is he like, what's happening?
Societies are defined by what they will not permit, as are famously religions. Muslims don't eat pork, neither do Orthodox Jews. Traditional Christians oppose extramarital sex. The Amish avoid electricity, and so on. American society isn't overtly religious, but it's governed by taboos, and it always has been. What's interesting is how fast our taboos are changing. This is not happening organically.
I can't think of anything that's like less relevant to like the American domestic market's interest than woke beer until now, okay? But when you're Tucker Carlson, like, I don't understand why your comeback stream or your comeback 10-minute video is almost exclusively on a story that is like interesting for what? Like some of the most relentless nerds. Like, these guys are extremely online and also completely insane, okay? I don't really understand why he's why he's covering the story at all. So what's the difference? He gets views either way. What are you doing with your views? Is there an ideological purpose for why Tucker Carlson cuts commentary in the way that he does? Certainly. I think there's definitely that. He is a WASP nationalist, okay? So it could have been about that.
What we're allowed to dislike is being dictated to us from above, sometimes by force. Until fairly recently, for example, it was taboo in this country to attack people on the basis of their race. That was the main lesson of the Second World War, we were told again and again. The one thing
I guess this is like for him to come across as like even-keeled to a broader audience. I don't know.
Learned from the Nazis is that it's dangerous to reduce human beings to their genetic code. There is no master race. That made sense, but apparently we no longer believe it. Punishing people based on their skin color is not only permitted in modern America, it is mandatory throughout business and government and higher education, as long as the victims are white. At one time, that would have been
it's so funny. You realize that like you're talking to no one. I guess you're not going to make any changes in the way that like American politics works. Maybe you're talking to a broader audience, I guess, of people who are like, yeah, this doesn't make sense. Why are we doing this? But you're not necessarily doing anything that is going to change policy in the way that you had the capacity to do so when you were Tucker Carlson on Fox News.
Unimaginable. So with the current behavior of our politicians. As recently as the 1992 presidential campaign, adultery was considered disqualifying for anyone seeking higher office. Bill Clinton was very nearly derailed in the New Hampshire primary by his affair with Jennifer Flowers. Clinton went to elaborate lengths to lie about the relationship because he had no choice. But he was the last presidential candidate who had to meet this standard. By 2008, it was obvious to anybody who was paying attention that Barack Obama had a strange and highly creepy personal life. Yet nobody ever asked him about it. By that point, a leader's behavior within his own marriage, the core relationship of his life, had been declared irrelevant. It was Barack Obama's business, not yours. One by one, with increasing speed, our old taboos have been struck down. Those that remain have lost their moral force. Stealing, flaunting your wealth, striking women, smoking marijuana on the street, shameless public hypocrisy, taking other people's money for not working. All of these things used to be considered unacceptable in America. Not anymore. So it probably shouldn't surprise us that the greatest taboo of all is teetering on the edge of
Like, let's say Donald Trump wins tomorrow, okay? And he's the president. What's Tucker going to do? He's just going to move on to some other shit. You're going to go back to talking about sexy ass M&Ms and how you want to them. I think a lot of the times when he says stuff like that, a lot of times when Tucker Carlson says stuff like that, it's not necessarily to like dog whistle specifically to like the 8 Nazis that are going to be like, yeah, it's more so that liberals will pick it up and then they will make a news story out of it. And then you can galvanize your base. I think he's doing that deliberately, baiting people to like cover it, to literally go and say, whoa, what the fuck? Why are you doing this? Just so that he can get more prominence. It's reaction baiting. You know what I mean?
acceptability, child molestation. A generation ago, talking to someone else's children about sex was widely considered grounds for a thrashing. Touching them sexually was effectively a death penalty offense. When Jeffrey Dahmer was bludgeoned to death in the bathroom of a Wisconsin prison in 1994, the Milwaukee district attorney had to caution the public not to turn Dahmer's killer into a folk hero. Jeffrey Dahmer had molested and murdered children. People felt justified in celebrating his death. 25 years later, that standard had changed dramatically.
Like, this would have banged on Fox News. And now it's on Twitter. I don't think that this is actually going to hit in the actual taste markets that it would normally hit if it was on Fox News, which is like all the donors, you know, the rich people who all happen to be over the age of 65, and just in general, like, yeah, the taste clusters. Exactly. That's who they care about, these politicians, I mean.
In the state of Wisconsin, as in the rest of the country. In the summer of 2020, during the BLM riots in Kenosha, 17-year-old Kyle Rittenhouse defended his life from a convicted child molester called Joseph Rosenbaum. Rosenbaum was trying to kill Rittenhouse, so Rittenhouse shot him in self-defense. But it was Joseph Rosenbaum whom the media cast as the victim of the story. Kyle Rittenhouse, meanwhile, an underage boy fending off violence from a child molester, was denounced as the villain. Ultimately, he was indicted for murder. One of the things that this tells us is the people who run our country no longer see child molesters as the worst among us. It's never been more obvious than it was yesterday when the Wall Street Journal ran a long expose about kiddie porn on Instagram. Instagram, the journal found, quote, helps connect and promote a vast network of accounts openly devoted to the commission and purchase of underage sex.
Does your dad watch Fox News? I know you said he's a neolib. Brother, my father refuses to speak English, even though he wrote his doctorate in the language, okay? Like, he has full capabilities of speaking English, refuses to do so. Even if it is to communicate to, like, other American people that are holding the treats captive. You know what I mean? Like, treats that he wants in his tummy. Like, he will go to a pastry store and refuse to communicate in English the pastries that he wants to purchase and consume. It's insane. He'll just like point to it and go, 2. It's very funny and very odd. And we literally don't know why he does it.